Young recorded his first 40-point playoff game, putting up 48 points. That ties LeBron James for the most by a player age 22 or younger in a conference or division finals game. Young and the Hawks are now 6-2 on the road this season. Trae is averaging over 32 points per game on the road in these playoffs. And Young has been on fire to open up each series. He's averaging over 38 points in game ones this postseason. That's the highest scoring average in game ones by any player in NBA history. Ice Trae, you know what it is. Stephen A.Smith, what was the biggest reason for last night's result?
It was Trae. It was Trae being sensational. You see, people are looking at his points, and I'm saying look at how he scores, which is why I said he was the key to this series, Max, when we had this debate yesterday. I was talking about him. See, he shot 4-13 from three-point range. That's not how he's going to kill you, even though he just embarrassed Drew Holiday, just took him completely out of the camera, shimmied, and then shot a J and hit all net, had Giannis in the timeout pointing out how he shimmied on them and all of that stuff, which is very, very embarrassing to the Milwaukee Bucks. But with all of that aside, let's pay attention to what you're seeing from Trae Young right now. The ball handling skills, the passing skills, the decision making, the ability to draw fouls, the cat quickness where he can shoot floaters from 5 feet, 10 feet. I saw him shoot a 15-foot floater. This is what he does. And he's constantly got defenses on their heels because he has them scared he's going to draw fouls, because he can stop on a dime and let you run into him. And because he's only 6'1" at about 175, 180, he'll go bowling over. Obviously, he'll draw the foul from the officials, and you find yourself on the bench ill-equipped to defend him because that's what he does. He's got Brook Lopez showing that he has no business on the basketball court in this series because you continuously put him in pick and roll situations. You force him to either come out and get you, which Brook Lopez ain't going to do, which leaves you open for a J, or if he steps a foot away from the basket and even feints coming at you, it's grounds for an alley-oop to Capella or John Collins. It's what he's doing and how he's doing it that's really resonating, because he's not just putting up points. He's getting other people in trouble and compromising what they can do because of foul trouble. And he's also making Budenholzer having to figure out, how the hell am I going to defend him? The Milwaukee Bucks, because of one game, already know Brook Lopez can't be on the floor. We got to go small. We probably going to have to put Giannis at the 5. We're going to have to put Portis up in there. And we're going to have to go small. This is what we're going to have to do in order to compete against this guy. And by going small, that's going to unleash Collins, who can play, had 23 and 15, and Capella, who had 19 rebounds. That's going to unleash them at the rim. All because of how Trae Young scores his points and generates points for that offense. That's the difference, and that's why that's the biggest reason for the Game 1 result.
He makes Brook Lopez unplayable.
Right.
He was great. That's good analysis. And by the way, this whole playoff, Stephen A., my big thought after last night's game is I can't remember a season where there was this much change in the NBA hierarchy. Like, we're going to have to consider Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, and Trae Young when this is all over and figure out who's in the top 10 in the NBA and who's not. Because there are some names that are they're all
superstars right now.
Superstars. And I feel bad for Jamal Murray that he missed out on the party, because in last year's playoffs, he was spectacular.
There's no question.
So, that was my big takeaway. You're right. It's Trae Young's story. But I want to focus on why the Bucks lost other than Trae Young is on the other team.
Okay.
And that's Chris Middleton. 0 for 9 from 3. 15 points in 41 minutes. Stephen A., I'm not even knocking Middleton and Drew Holiday. They're good players. But I'm so sick and tired of, I was on Milwaukee radio the other day, Stephen A., and they were asking me about the big, there's no big 3 in Milwaukee. What do I keep saying? There's a big one. The reason I like the Bucks to win this series heading in was okay. But since the other team doesn't have a big 3 anymore, you're not playing Brooklyn. There's no Kyrie or James Harden. There wasn't for Brooklyn either. But now, you know what? When you take away the superstars on either team, you have Trae Young and Giannis, the best players on the Bucks. It's Middleton. And maybe the next guy is also on the Bucks, and Drew Holiday, you could argue. And so maybe they have a version of a big 3 when the other team doesn't have one, right? But they don't, Stephen A. The reason Middleton is not good enough, and neither is Drew Holiday, to be considered members of a big three is because they're sometimes all-stars. I think Holiday's made one team in his career, Middleton two. They played a while. And the reason for that is they're sometimes great and usually good and sometimes not so good. You know, they're not always great. This is not Kyrie Irving or someone like that. There's a difference between a perennial all-star. They make the team every year because most nights they're really great. And a once-in-a-while all-star. And Middleton's a once-in-a-while guy. So when he shows up, the way he does sometimes, the Bucks are going to win those games. You got Giannis and Middleton and Drew Holiday, but there are going to be nights where he doesn't. And that was one of those nights. They can't win a game if Middleton's going 0 for 9 from 3. Ain't going to happen. And that's what happened last night. Holiday shows up, Middleton goes away. Middleton shows up, Holiday goes away. They got to both show up.
First of all, that's an accurate analysis, and I'm not disagreeing with you on its face value in terms of them both not showing up. But you're just talking offensively. I saw Drew Holiday shoot the ball effectively yesterday. I'll give him props for that. He shot 25 times just like Giannis did. But last time I checked, Drew Holiday is an all-NBA defensive team player.
Yep.
First team. Where the hell were you when Trae Young was scorching y'all? What the hell were you doing? You know, because we saw Drew Holiday reaching a lot. We saw Trae cross him over before he did the shimmy. It was Drew Holiday he crossed over. Drew Holiday isn't in Milwaukee to give you 33 points. Drew Holiday can give you 20 a night. But what he's supposed to be doing is being a lockdown defender. What happened to that guy? Especially when Giannis, who's also an all-defensive player, is on your team, and P.J. Tucker is on your team. What happened to you? And so I look at it from the perspective that I'm holding Drew Holiday accountable for what happened with Trae Young yesterday as well. You don't get a pass. I appreciate the fact that you were hitting Jays and that you were making up for the air balls that Pat Connaughton was shooting. I got that part. But the flip side to it is that your job description, how many times do I point to that, Molly? Job description, resume, signature. What is it that what is the expectation that comes along with you? If Drew Holiday sat here yesterday, Max, and scored 21 points, but Trae Young also had 20-something, we would have went like this. The man did his job. Mm-hmm. We can't sit up there and say Drew Holiday did his job because you scored 33.
That's what I'm saying. First of all, the Jet broke it down on the broadcast last night about the help defense not coming, and you brought it up earlier. The reason Lopez is unplayable is because Trae kills you in the pick and roll, right? Like so that discombobulates the defense. And your point is well taken about Drew, but that's my point, Stephen A. The perennial all-stars, the guys who you say that's a big three. For example, I think DeAndre Ayton has arrived there now, game after game. So now you're going to have Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton. That doesn't mean every single game they're going to be great, but you can rely on all three of them consistently to be great, to be excellent. That's not what the Bucks have. And you pointing it out about Drew Holiday on the defensive end last night points it out. Holiday and Middleton are good players. Giannis needs a great player with him. He needs a crime partner. He still doesn't have it, and it is unclear at this moment if the advantage we thought the Bucks had coming into this series can compensate for that. We don't know that. This is any one series.
Yeah, all I know is Young is torching folks, and he's having fun out there doing it. It looks like it's a rec game, like zero stress at all whatsoever, living his best life. What were you going to say, Stephen A?
No, what I was going to say was that you can look at it that way, but Max, if one of them shows up offensively, then that is a crime partner, whether it's Middleton or Drew Holiday. But what they're supposed to be doing collectively is being more formidable defensively. That's about Budenholzer as well. This is why if they lose this series, I'm here to tell you right now, the ownership in Milwaukee is going to take a strong, hard look at Mike Budenholzer.
They have no choice.
They don't get to the finals because there's really no excuse. You can't have a guy 6'1", 180 pounds, playing amongst those trees, being athletic and as formidable as they are defensively, giving up 48 points and being ran roughshod over. You can't have that.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. You can't. They're going to have to look at him.
I know we got to go to break, but real quick, just while we're on this subject. So do you guys still have the Bucks winning the series regardless of last night?
I still do.
I do, Molly, but I got to tell you something right now. What I'm seeing from Atlanta and them hitting shots, I'm almost getting to a point where it wouldn't shock me if the Atlanta Hawks won the championship because they're making shots.
Yeah.
They're making shots.
Sure.
If somebody
Young's
can't stop them from making shots,
games these playoffs. Yeah.
If somebody can't stop them from making shots, because Bogdanovich, remember, he's got that knee issue. If he didn't have that knee issue and was able to push off, he would be shooting better. You see what Gallinari is doing.
Point.
You know what Lou Williams can do coming off the bench, and John Collins can ball.
He's a stud.
They better keep him. I'm telling you right now, the Atlanta Hawks. I'm not picking them to win this series, not yet. But the Atlanta Hawks could win the championship. They could do it.
All right, we'll leave it there. We'll see what happens next game, guys. The Chiefs made their second straight Super Bowl, but was it a successful season? You don't want to miss that debate in the comments from Travis Kelce ahead.